Hey everyone, I'm Jess, and this is my dad, Stephen.
It's true, it's true. We've had blood tests and everything.
And Dad is all mic'd up because he's the star of the show. When I've been searching for some things for us to make videos about, I found some really interesting questions. So I thought that today, since Dad is kind of the expert when it comes to a lot of things revolving around art, that maybe he can...
Why do I feel a little bit worried about this?
Maybe he could handle some of these questions.
I didn't get handed a script, girls and boys.
No, they're on my phone. So I'm just going to pitch them at him and we'll see how we go. First question, let's see. Is oil paint waterproof?
Absolutely. Oil and water don't mix. Water just runs off oil. But it's not a good idea to take your 14th century oil painting out into the rain and use it as an umbrella. What happens with oils, because, do you want to know what oil paint is?
What is oil paint?
Oil paint's basically coloured dirt held together with vegetable oil.
Oh, I think you might have told me that.
I've told you that before. It's the bulk of it comes from refined clay like kaolin or something like that. Then they stick all the pigments in it, and then to bind it all together and make it spreadable or runny, they used linseed oil. Water runs off it. But if the painting gets old, then the sunlight can break that down and make it not very, very waterproof.
We got a lot of information in that one. What oil paints are transparent?
Ooh, okay. Some pigments, by their very nature, are opaque. Quite a lot of oil paints are semi-transparent, semi-opaque, like ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. Naples yellow is opaque because you can tell it's a chalky, you can't see through it. Whereas some of the other yellow's a strong colour but a very weak pigment. We often use a colour called Indian yellow. Looks like baby poo, but it thins out to the most spectacular, beautiful glassy amber colour. The other colours that are used a lot as transparency, because we like them for their transparency, is phthalo blue and the greens, the purples and the greens, and those that, particularly phthalocyanine colours, very, 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 very strong staining, but quite transparent, make fabulous glazes. If you want them to cover, put a whisker of white in there.
Let's try some acrylic paint questions. What do you think would be the must-have acrylic paint colours?
Oh.
Maybe that depends on what you're doing.
It does indeed, but what the Gold Coast Art School does is the double primary, and that is 2 reds, 2 yellows, 2 blues. Why? Because if you've got 2 blues, one's a green blue, one's a violet blue, which is phthalo, and ultramarine. The other is a lemon yellow, which is heading towards green, and the other is a warmer, it's an orange yellow. The reds, where you use a crimson, and that's heading towards violet, and then vermilion, or what they call warm red, heads towards orange. Don't really like the warm, cool thing. Don't get me started. I think there's no such thing as a warm blue. I'm going to write a stern letter to Mr. Chromacryl one day. Dear Mr. Chromacryl, we love your product. However, could you please change your labelling?
How about some brush questions?
I'm going to do a whole thing on brushes.
You will.
Yeah.
So this is kind of...
It's going to be mega.
This is a question that interests me because as a vegan, I sometimes wonder about what things are made out of. And even if you're not vegan, you kind of wonder, what are things made out of? And so one of these questions is, are paintbrushes made of pig hair? When
you're working in a style that's, you're using the thick, viscous, straight out of the tube oil paint, is very, very tough to move around. If you use a woozy kind of brush, it's not going to go anywhere. And traditionally, the art world has always used a hog's bristle brush for that. And that will do things that other brushes won't do. In the wonderful world of watercolour and probably Japanese work, there's also squirrel hair is used.
Yeah.
Why do we use animal products is because animals have developed through their fur and their hair, their pelt, they're designed to remove water or liquids from their body. These days, they've got lots of replica type things. They're all petrochemical byproducts. They're plastics. So if you care for your animals but bugger the planet, use a synthetic brush. There are limitations, and I'm going to go through this in great detail, folks, about brushes later.
Let's see if I can do one more question. How do you soften hard paint brushes?
There are products that help you. The best bet is clean them as soon as you use them. If it's oil paint, then a good soaking and terps can help. If it's acrylic paint, water soaking is not going to do too much because the nature of acrylics, it's a plastic, it's a polymer, it ends up being shedding water. You need a detergent to break that down. There's a very strong detergent. It's like Sard, and it's called Incredible Brush Cleaner. It's a product. We'll find that there are some radical solvents at a hardware shop, like acetates and things like that, but sometimes they are so strong they'll chew holes in your brush as well.
Check out those other videos on our channel, or check out the one about brush cleaning if that's something that you want to know about. Otherwise, we upload every single Thursday. And do you have any other questions for my dad? We'll catch you next Thursday.
Bye.